Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 6th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hanging out, relaxing, all cool. Well, actually, I'm relaxing all hot. It's warm. It's warm. But overall, good day so far. Nice little fun day Sunday. Well, yeah. I say fun day Sunday, but it's just because I'm at ease, and that's nice. I did some grocery shopping, so I'm excited for my meals for the week. I feel like that's like the little treats I still have. Like I've cut back some. I'm not going out as much to eat, but it's nice to like cook something nice. It's nice to think about the things you're gonna cook and be like, yeah, I'm sure that'll go well. I'm sure that'll be yummy when I make it. Let's see here. But Food Corner, yesterday Food and Life Corner, I guess. Yeah, yesterday I went to my friend's son's birthday party, and that was very fun. Shout out to Joshy, 10 years old. That's a big move. That's a big number. So that was fun. It was like a Spider-Man themed birthday party, so that was really cute. You got some like Miles Morales and a little web shooter, which is cool. I found out I don't maybe you can still find the web cartridge things that like shoot out the silly string, but I feel like they're less common now. And now they're like doing projectiles. I'm like, damn, that's sad. But a friend mentioned they're like, oh, people are eating kids used to eat the string. That's our bad. It's like, true. Eating silly string, that's a wild notion, but I get it. Let's see here. Did I say the food? I didn't say the food. We just had some Little Caesars, which that's good for me. I love me some Little C's. We had pretzel pizza with the pepperoni, so that was yummy, and then also just the OG pepperoni, so that was good. So I love me some pizza. So that was a heat to spot. Oh, and also cupcakes and cake. So birthday things. All right. Speaking of lighting candles, I'm gonna do that, and then we get into some news. All right, from Al Jazeera. Pakistan's Imran Khan sentenced to 3 years in prison, arrested. So, I don't want to say this is the final chapter for Imran Khan. We've done a good amount of coverage on him, over time since he has been, voted no contest by the parliament. He tried to dissolve the parliament because essentially, he was losing, he was out, and he's like, nah. Or I think they were trying to push him out, right? It's been a while. It's been a minute. But, police have arrested Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan in the eastern city of Lahore after a court sentenced him to 3 years in prison for illegally selling state gifts. The 70-year-old cricketer turned politician was accused of misusing his premiership from 2018 to 2022 to buy and sell gifts in state possession that were received during visits abroad and worth more than 140 million Pakistani rupees, or 497 and $500, nearly $500,000. You guys know I hate numbers. Anyway, on top of the 3 years in prison, he also will have a $100,000 rupee fine, or $350 US in both those situations. The other, which I'm sure he'll be able to pay, but it would give him a further 6 months in jail if he didn't pay. Also, he's not going to be allowed to participate in the next run of elections, which is probably the bigger news. Like, don't get me wrong, going to jail fucking sucks, period, I'm sure. Especially when you think about it, too, because I do say that this is important. Like, look, if you were taking bribes, that's not good. Like, you're a politician, you shouldn't do that. I don't. But at the end of the day, it is one of those things where you think about in the bigger scheme of things. We're talking about Trump all the time here. One populist to another. It's like, oh well, yeah, it's not that big, right, brother? But it's like, these are things that matter. These are things that you're not allowed to just get away with. And yeah, like, is it maybe the government saying, hey, we're going to use whatever tactics we can to make sure you are out of the running, that make sure that you are, quote unquote, punished? Like, yeah, probably, but it is a valid technique. You should not break the law. You could just be on the level. You could just be a good prime minister. And guess what? You dodge that bullet. You're fucking Neo to that bullshit. But I just personally don't think that Khan really did. Granted, he is going to file for an appeal, which potentially he has some standing on. Oh, I did want to get to this too, because this talks about he's referenced before since he's been pushed out, ousted. That's the word I should have been looking for at the top. He's been saying like there's this big Western collusion against him, and he made a post. I believe it was on X, but in a post, Khan made reference to the London Plan, a term he uses to refer to an alleged plot between current Army Chief General Asim Munir and three-time former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who has been in London since 2019 in self-exile, to oust him from politics. He has yet to provide evidence of his existence. And the last sentence to me is the most important thing. I'll say it like I said with David Grush, man. Like, if you're going to tell me some shit, if you're going to drop some conspiracies on me, give me at least some real breadcrumbs, not some fucking vaporware. I need real shit. I need evidence to show that you, like, have a plot here to overthrow you because they don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in us. Okay, then I'm with you, brother. I'm in the streets with you. But like, until then, I don't get it. And I think it's very misguided. I think you're revving up your base to run out on the streets to do shit for you. Now, in terms of, where Khan stands now, he is accepting it, but he has asked people to, protest peacefully, but to not stay silent. So, I get that last ditch effort. You got to try to do that. But it does seem that there hasn't been any major protests launched. There have been some people outside his home, protesting, their support for him. But, it's really going to come down to potential appeals, which, there is some grounds for it potentially. They tried him in absentia. He wasn't allowed to actually be in his trial, at least if I'm not mistaken. And I think there's a Pakistani law that negates that. It's like, hey, you can't be tried in absentia. Like, this is not lawful. So that might be the strong, legal grounds that Khan might have here. But that being said, maybe that doesn't actually get it thrown out, and he's just going to be stuck in jail, not allowed to participate in elections, and that'd be a big thing. So if that happens and he is stuck in jail, like this is the sentence, he's got to write it out, he still will have some sway, some say. Who he backs is going to be big in the future elections. But yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think any side is clean here. I think Khan is a populist who failed his country. I think you could have done the things that you said you were going to do and not been corrupt. That would have been great. I think that would have been a really major dub for Pakistan. Really needed. I also think that the government went out of their way to make sure that Khan could not run again. For whatever reasons, I don't know. But I don't know if that's necessarily, great or awesome or for the people. I don't know. Also, it's military backed as well, which is like the military helped put Khan in, and I feel like they also helped probably take him out. So who knows? Who can say? But that's really all I got here. We'll see if there is an upheaval in terms of the appeal. Maybe I'll, be talking about Khan again, but who knows? Let's move on to some other news. Let's go to the States. From CBS News. Yellow is shutting down after 99 years. Here's what happened. Yellow Corp, a beleaguered trucking company that was once the U.S.'s largest transporters of goods, has ceased operations and is planning to file bankruptcy, the Teamsters Union said in a statement on Monday. The company had been in operation for nearly 100 years, but its financial challenges snowballed, leading it to accumulate more than $1 billion in debt. Yellow has historically been proven let me run it back. Yellow has historically proven that it could not manage itself despite billions of dollars in worker concessions and hundreds of millions in bailout funding from the federal government, said Teamsters General President Sean M. O'Brien in a statement. This is a sad day for the workers and the American freight industry. The company received $700 million in government loans during the pandemic as part of COVID-19 relief. That being said, though, I think they had some issues with that they get into in this article. The shutdown comes after Yellow failed to reorganize and refinance the roughly $1.5 billion it had as of March in outstanding debt, a large portion of which came from the $700 million pandemic era government loan. At the time of the loan, the company was facing charges of defrauding the government by overbilling on shipments for the U.S. military. It ultimately settled the lawsuit and agreed to pay the Defense Department nearly $7 million. The $729.2 million it now owes the federal government is due in September of 2024. Yellow has repaid $230 million of the principal it owed, in addition to $54.8 million in interest payments, government documents show. I also heard rumblings, I'm not sure, I didn't do too much research here, so, don't bite my head off if I'm off, but that, truckers were like saying, hey, like, we're union, right? Like, we're seeing the shit that's happening here. Let's, we need to definitely be making sure that we're getting paid more. And I get that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether or not Yellow is fucking struggling. Like, oh, well, that's a y'all problem. At the end of the day, we need to make our fucking money if you're going to, you want to have us do all this trucking. So I think with Yellow, they said, hey, we can't do it, and since we can't pay and we're not making any money and we're already in the fucking hole, let's just do the thing that everyone does. File for bankruptcy. And that does pause some things in terms of loans and stuff like that, but naturally that puts people who are working, it's like, well, now damn, I'm not even going to get any potential raise or anything like that. I'm now going to be out of a job if this bankruptcy goes all the way. Also, I believe they'd already done a run of layoffs as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that. But let's see. Yellow. How many people affected? Yeah, 30,000 people at the end of 2020. So yeah, that's how many people were employed at Yellow. But they did do layoff notices on Friday. So more or less to just say, harbinging the beginning of the end there. Let's see here. The customers, which includes retailers like Walmart, Home Depot, and logistics platform Uber Freight, have already halted shipments to the failing carrier company to prevent goods from being lost or abandoned in the event of bankruptcy. So that means FedEx, ABF are going to be most likely taking on, that load, those supplies, those goods, and most likely that means it's going to be a rise in prices, and or there might be gaps potentially if you're like a smaller, company, store, whatever. Like you gotta scramble to make that happen. I don't fucking know, but it is a big deal. I really wanted to cover this story because I remember growing up my entire life. Every time I've been on, not every time I've been on the highway, but I've seen on the highway, like, oh yeah, there's that yellow truck. And I often wondered, why do they have the logo yellow, but the trucks aren't yellow, the logo is not yellow? That's weird. It's orange, actually. It says yellow, but it's not yellow. And I'm thinking, like, maybe it's just not, like, maybe this is a shade of yellow I don't know about. Maybe I'm not in the Crayola-verse deep enough. It turns out, though, they changed it. This is a little fun fact I'm adding before I move on. They changed it from yellow to orange in terms of like the label brand coloring because it was easier to see on the street. That's my Google research telling me that. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on, though. There's other things to talk about. From USA Today, leprosy could become endemic to Florida. Here's what to know. So leprosy talk. I can't remember if I've talked about this before on the podcast, if it's come up before, but, what better time than now to talk about leprosy in the US of A. Rising cases of leprosy in the southeast U.S. point to the possibility of the disease becoming endemic to the region, and a high concentration of those cases were reported in Central Florida. According to a recently published research letter published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, in the Emerging Infectious Disease Journal, Florida is witnessing an increase in leprosy cases, lacking traditional risk factors, and travel to Florida should be considered when conducting leprosy contact tracing in any state. Now, I don't know. Florida's funny, right? It's just got this very weird cosmic energy going on. It's like our own little Bermuda Triangle. Anything fucking goes there. I personally, like, the older I get, the less I want to go to Florida personally as just a black man. Shit. This is a little bit of side news. When I heard that they are literally trying to say that, look, slavery, when you really look at it, it was like an internship, you know? Like, it wasn't like really actually slavery. And it's like, and DeSantis comes out and he says to defend this, it's like, look, that's not us saying it. It's like scholars that we found to say that. And I'm like, bruh, like, what are you doing? Like, we get it. You are anti a lot of shit. We understand. It's crazy. I just do not know who, the government in Florida is trying to appeal to, but it seems like it's not normal people. So the whole idea, the whole concept of leprosy coming to Florida and just like becoming a staple thing that they actually just have to deal with, as a former, big time, big energy Christian guy, that just hits. That hits right. That lands for me. Like, God doesn't even want you to go there. All right. But let's see here. The number of reported leprosy cases across the country has doubled over the past decade. According to the report, citing data from the National Hansen's Disease Program, which is the scientific terminology for leprosy. The report says that there were 159 new cases reported in the U.S. In 2020, nearly 70% of those cases were reported in Florida, California, Louisiana, Hawaii, New York, and Texas. So I did want to add that last part because it's not just Florida that is having an uptick in cases. It's just Florida is kind of tanking the most of said cases. So, at the end of the day, it would be definitely unfortunate if you wound up getting leprosy. They're not 100% on how it really gets transmitted, but they do think that, like, maybe the best mode of travel for it seems to be, like, through nasal spreading, like, contact, like, where it's, like, you're breathing out of your nose, it's there, it kind of comes out that way. It's a bacterial kind of disease. You guys know I don't want to, like, get into the science of this shit. I just want to, like, meme a little. But, at the end of the day, it does seem like it's becoming more of a problem that they are going to have to deal with in Florida. Like, they really got to maybe do a little bit more of a focus. But what does it say here? But the new report shows that about 34% of reported cases between 2015 and 2020 were locally acquired. So they're saying, like, well, yes, like, there's definitely a chance that, like, a lot of Hansen's disease or leprosy cases were, like, from people who came from other countries that were leprosy endemic, and that's how it kind of got here, did a little bit of spreading, and it's going to die out. But now they're saying, like, no, these came from Central Florida. Like, they were here, and now they're moving around. So that's a development that they're really trying to track and talk about and spread awareness to. So, we kiki, we laugh, but it's relevant. Also, too, just kind of seeing pictures from the article, it kind of surprised me because I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you. I don't know why I did that. I'm getting a little bit Taylor Swift pilled. But I remember being in grade school, and we actually randomly got to watch Ben-Hur, and they have a situation where a character goes to like a leper colony, and you see like the groups of people, they're all covered in shawls, and they're all like very dusty, and they look very disheveled and upset and banished, like the energy is just really sad and negative, and you see the people and they're just covered, just like it just look really gnarly, and you just see this in this day and age, like this is the leprosy right now, or just normal, not on screen, and it's like, oh, okay, you notice that, like, if it is like a facial situation, because it can get on your face, there's like a lack of eyebrows, but like the bumps aren't like crazy big. Like you can see them if you're looking for them, you're looking at them, and they are prevalent throughout the body, but it's just not as dramatic as I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh man, I guess they really Hollywooded it, maybe. I don't know. But I think they do go through. I'm trying to think where. Yeah, leprosy is curable. That is something I want to add here. I know I'm kind of just talking about, like, leprosy, this biblical disease. But it is something that is treatable. You just need like a few days of antibiotics. But the treatment lasts between 1 to 2 years due to the bacteria's slow growth. Also, it is being a slow moving bacteria. It can take time, which can mean it can take time to kind of realize, like, oh shit, I'm not just getting like random bumps or bug bites or something. Like, I'm actually getting full blown leprosy. Let's see. Let's talk about some of the symptoms though before we move along. I know I'm kind of just dwelling here. It's just not every day you get to talk about leprosy. I'm a little excited. I don't know. Loss of feeling in hands and feet. Dry, stiff, and sometimes painful skin in the infected area, thinning of the eyebrows and eyelashes if the face is involved, nasal congestion is sometimes reported, and then if the disease goes untreated, weakness in the muscles of the hands and feet can also occur. Also, they say that, like, if it goes untreated for too long, that kind of muscle damage, nerve damage can become permanent. So, I don't know, if you're a Floridian right now and you're feeling any of those kind of symptoms, I don't know, think about it. Not to WebMD you, I'm sorry, that's not the thing. That's not what I'm trying to do. I probably should be more serious about this shit. I don't know, man. Oh, there's one more thing. Can you get leprosy from armadillos? I didn't know that was on the range. But yes, you can. A genetic study conducted at the National Hansen's Disease Program found that armadillos in the southern U.S. develop a high number of M. leprae, which is like the medical Latin whatever for leprosy. That bacteria that causes leprosy. Transmission between animals to humans is low, but the program advises that people still take proper precautions around armadillos. So, like, I don't know, if you're like in Texas, I don't know if they're in Florida. I know they got lizards in Florida, but, just be careful. Think about it. You don't want to get them bumps. All right, we got one more thing to cover. And then I'll let you go. You can enjoy the rest of your Sunday or whatever day you're listening to this. All right. From USA Today, NIH announces Anthony Fauci's replacement. What to know about researcher Janine Marrazzo. A health expert at the University of Alabama has been named the next director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The NIAID, the National Institute of Health, or the NIH, announced this week. A lot of abbreviations in this article. Dr. Janine Marrazzo is expected to start the job this fall. the NIH said in a statement released Wednesday. Dr. Anthony Fauci retired from the post in December. The federal agency is one of the 27 institutes and centers that make up the National Institutes of Health and agency of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. So, and then who has been in between? I didn't cover this actually. Dr. Hugh Auchincloss Jr. has served as acting director since Fauci stepped down. Fauci hasn't commented or anything like that. They reached out and he's like, nah, I'm cool. He's fishing or something. I don't know. But Marrazzo is currently the director of the Division of Infectious Diseases at the university's medical school in Birmingham. In a joint statement from the university's Ray Watts and Junior Anupam Agarwal, essentially they're just happy that she's going to go make a difference and, that she's repping the set. Yada, yada, yada. This is cool. I don't know too much about this lady, but, I did just want to cover the transition since I covered, Fauci saying, hey, I'm stepping down, And don't get me wrong, I don't think that Fauci was, the greatest or whatever. But I don't know, he did the job at the end of the day. And I know he did catch a lot of flack from conservatives and, even from, others who were just like, yo, you didn't manage this perfectly. There's definitely some mistakes here. You definitely should have told us this or, we could have been, more aware in other ways and made better decisions. But overall, not just including COVID, I would say Fauci did a good job. I would say in this situation with Marrazzo, she seems equipped. I think she has a focus on, I think it's women's, feminine, microbiomes, stuff like that. Here, we go ahead and read it. According to the NIH, her research and discovery and implementation science has focused on the human microbiome, specifically as it relates to female reproductive tract infections and hormonal contraception, prevention of HIV infection using micromedical interventions, including PrEP or PrEP, and microbicides, sure, and the pathogenesis and management of bacterial vaginosis, sexually transmitted diseases in HIV-infected persons, and management of antibiotic resistance and gonorrhea. So I'm reading all that and I'm like, yeah, sure, that's our resume. I believe that you know health. I'm with that. So yeah, I like that. I like that she has a background. She's not just some random person who just has a passion. You know what I mean? I just think that's someone who Trump might vote in or not vote in. Put in or I don't know. I'm riffing here. I'm in the weeds. It's the end of the episode. It's I guess. Do you consider Sunday the start of the week or the end of the week? I personally know it's the start of the week in terms of that's how it's supposed to be, but it's still the weekend and it's the end of the weekend, so I consider it the end. That's how I look at it. So anyway, just speaking of endings, that's it. We're at the end. I'm out of road here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.